Hi guys, I am about to start a new series. It's going to be a farmer's market series. I'm just feeling really inspired and I want to dive into something new. My vision, if you'll bear with me, is to do a little series of little 6x8s, like originals. So it's something that I can maybe sell at my pop-up markets or sell online, but have them be like a standard frame size. And then I can also turn them into prints, whatever that's down the track. But to do something a little bit more like compact and bite-sized rather than like a giant painting of like carrots. And I actually got an idea from a comment from one of you that was asking for me to show like my starting off like drawing process and then how I build up into like painting and doing that. So that's kind of my idea. And I think we can get started. I'm excited about this one. Okay, so I'm gonna position you so I have a little space up here. What I'm going to try to do is film, oh my, the fingerprints. Does anybody's iPad look good? Better. So I'm in my photo album and I'll click on the photo that I want to use. And the first thing is I know I'm doing it in a 6x8. So that ratio is a 3x4. So you'll go over to crop, in the top row, you'll see 4 little buttons and there's one that has what looks like different squares. I pressed it. So we want to crop this to be in the 3x4 ratio. At the bottom, you'll see it has a bunch of options. We have a vertical looking square, rectangle, a horizontal looking square, original freeform, square, 9x16, 4x5, 5x7, and 3x4. 3x5, 2x3. But we're doing the 3x4, so we're gonna crop it. And you'll see, I'll just kind of move it around to position where I want there to be space at the bottom that leaves it clear for me. And then I didn't get the full picture of the stalk of the carrot. And I want to just kind of like add in a little bit more up there so it looks a little bit more finished. So I'm going to crop it. I feel happy with that. So I'm going to press done. And then sometimes what I like to do is then put this onto Procreate. So when I'm in Procreate, which is a great app if you don't have that, I erase the background. With my art style, I don't like backgrounds. I want you just to focus in on the subject that I'm painting. So sometimes I'll just go in and just start erasing. This helps me visualize it and make sure that I actually like the composition. I don't have a great mind's eye. In fact, I can't picture things in my head without seeing them in front of me. So I'm just gonna keep erasing this off camera and I'll be right back. Also don't know if it's important, but I didn't say. The eraser that I'm using is an airbrush and I'm using a medium brush and then I just adjust the sizes. I think I probably should have said that I would be doing this first actually. I usually erase my backgrounds first and then I worry about cropping. So that's where we're at. Now the majority of what I want erased is erased and I am gonna take the little arrow button and just, let's zoom out a little, position the carrots to be central because they were a little off-centered. And then I will go to the little wrench at the top, share as a JPEG, export and save image. Now it's saved and I just want to make sure it's still cropped to the 3/4 shape. Yeah, perfect. So do I want to do this bigger? Because how small would that be? There's a potential that I might change my mind from doing it as a 6x8. And I'll show you how I'm going to make that choice. So now so I'll click done. We're good with that. So the way that we're going to, or I'm going to see if I really want it to be the 6x8 size. So I'll go to this app in the right here where you can see it's called Drawing Grid. It's my favorite app. You can see I used it for my quail. So what you do in the right-hand side, you'll see load image and grid settings. Click on that, click load image from gallery, and click on your newest one. And now the columns, which was used for a different drawing that I was doing, I want it to become the 6x8. So we want 6 columns across. So I'll click 6 and it'll automatically change it to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 by 8 going down. So now back to the little settings line underneath where the battery is, and I'll click full screen zoom and drag and zoom this out. Now each of these square represent a square inch. So I can visualize how big these carrots are gonna be. And they're not gonna be that big. If anything, they're little 3 inchers. That's tiny. I don't wanna do so tiny. I changed my mind. I wanna do 8x10s. I wanna do this series that's just 8x10s. So skirt back to our photo. We'll edit. And now we're gonna crop it to 4x5. I don't feel like the way that that's cropping that's enough space. So now back to Procreate, take our arrow to, I'm just pinching him down because I want more white space around. Oh my God. Same thing, export as a JPEG, save image. And now I'm going to the newest one and we're gonna edit it to be in the 4:5 ratio, which is 8x10. Okay, so now I can zoom it in a little bit. I wanna have a decent amount or enough negative space or blank space on the bottom and the top. So if it's framed or anything, it has the space that it needs. It is a little skinny in there, is the only thing, but that's okay. I'm gonna scoot that down slightly. Now again, open up that drawing grid and press the X. We're gonna do what we just did when we changed out to the first photo. So load image and grid, load image from gallery, the newest one. And now the columns are gonna be 8 because it's 8x10 and I want them each to be a square inch. So 8 will full screen zoom it, and then you'll see you can count 8 across and 10 down. And so now that means this, there didn't help us much. It's a lot of stock, but it could still be cool. I think it'll be fine. They're still gonna be kind of tiny carrots. If I wanted them to be bigger carrots, I'd have to go up to like my 11x14, which isn't that. I'm imagining putting art in my own kitchen. Yeah, I think an 8x10. I think an 8x10. Okay, now we're on to the annoying part, the drawing. When all you want to do is just paint, but you can't. You can't. Okay, so again, we're using the 9x12 Arches paper. I like using a clear ruler. Mine is so beat up, but whatever. I like using a clear ruler because it allows me to see the paper underneath. And then I'm just using my Graphgear 1000 Pentel. We'll open up our paper. For 8x10s, I'll start by making little tabs. So you can measure out that this is about 9 inches. It's so annoying. This paper has like the little bit of like a 1 extra tick. So 9 is here and has 1 extra tick. So there are many ways that I'm sure you could do this. As we know, an inch, if you're in any other country, you're gonna just be like, God, inches are stupid. And they are. An inch is 16 little guys. So now that has 1 over, we have 17. Half of 17 is 8.5. So I'm going to count 8.5 little ticks and draw a little line. I'll do this kind of closer to the top. So 8.5 little ticks is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, And then I go right in between and do the same on the side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And right in between. And then I measure tick to tick. That's 8 inches. Boom, bam. Great. Now I'll do the same at the bottom. And now we'll do the 10 inches. You can see this is over 12 inches, which is just the way it is. So 12 inches goes to here, and we can see that adds on 1, 2, 3, 4 more little lines. So 12 down to 10 is 16, 16 is 32, plus the extra little 4 ticks is 36. So we divide that by 2, so we can bring it in each side. So I'm gonna go 16 plus 1, 2. Draw our little tab. And then I'll do it on the other side. And I just flip my ruler because this one's so busted up. 16 plus 2. So let's make sure that that's 10. And it is perfect, 10 inches. It's kind of a annoying process, but it is what it is. You gotta enjoy all of it, you know? No, you don't have to enjoy it all. I don't enjoy it all. I do it because I want to paint. Okay. Then we draw out our graph. If you already have an 8-inch paper, you know, an 8 by 10, lucky duck, you don't have to do this. And that is our 8 by 10 border. And then now what we're going to do is tally out our inches at the top and on the sides. And then I like to make little ticks, like little pluses, rather than drawing the full line, because that is very challenging to erase from this paper. Once the lead is on here, you can erase it only so far. So at least with the ticks, I know I can erase them enough. Okay, so I will line up. I go above the line to start. And I'll do the same on the bottom. And then I'll do that on the sides, and I'll show you why I do it this way in a second. Great. I will take my ruler on that line, and I'll just draw really light dashes at the inch marks. Obviously, having the tallies on the end, make sure I can line up my ruler accordingly. And I'll just do that all the way across. I'm keeping a very light hand. And I really just like a grid method because I want my pieces to look as accurate and close to the original as possible, but I want them to be realistic, and then this helps me keep the guesswork out of things because I'm just drawing it square by square. Great. And then do the same thing going this way and make sure everything's lined up, and then you just tally over. And you can kind of draw out the across lines so they're more like little T's. And then you'll see, you'll get something like that. And I'm just gonna do that all the way across. And now with our reference photo, we're just gonna go square to square. You can start on the left-hand side, you can start in the middle, you can start wherever your heart wants. We're just going off the squares. So I'm gonna zoom in a little bit. And I'm gonna start with that more middle right carrot that's fairly yellow. So if we count our squares, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 over, and it'll start down in here and end 1, 2, 3, 4 up. So it kind of lives in this world. And we're just gonna be drawing what we see in each square. So I see that this carrot tilts and goes around. As it lives a little in this corner of the square. And cuts off that corner here. Down to here. So we just keep looking at our reference image, making sure that we think everything's looking accurate. And one thing you can do is you can take your pencil and line it up on the angle of the reference photo to see if it's matching the angle. So I'm holding my pencil up to the image and same, yeah, and it is lining up. I think these are just gonna be really, really tiny. Now I'm second guessing it. I'm excited to make these colors as well. I think it'll be really pretty. Okay. That's one carrot. I'm just drawing one more to see if I like it. It's right about there. I like how organic and weird shaped carrots are, especially at these markets. So I'm just making sure to keep those weird lumps and bumps in and trying to not assume what I'm drawing. So I'm just drawing exactly what I see. And that is where the grid is also really helpful, because you're kind of breaking it down section by section. Let's see how that's looking. Maybe it'll be fine. Oh. One more here. What I'll just keep doing is I'll keep drawing, and you can just kind of watch how that goes. I do think I want a little longer down here. So I have my reference right in front of me, and I am just going, like I said, square by square. I'm using my pencil as my help for an angle. So this one curves around there. If you don't have an iPad, you can always print out your reference images. I know a lot of people do actually prefer to draw that way, having like the piece of paper in front of them, and just putting the grid on the printed paper as well as your drawing, but totally up to you. I just like the iPad because it saves me time and paper and works just as well. This one has an interesting little foot to it, this guy. It has, like it's, oh, roots, not foot. I like its shape. Cool. So it's just like little details that I like to add in to make sure I don't forget them. Drawing the forefront shapes first, and then I can work on the back ones. No rules. There's no rules in this house. Not like a regular mom. I'm a cool mom. It's like a weird finger. Okay. I like to also draw, so I'll do my like top bit, what I'm choosing to do, and then I draw down to where on the last square it is so I can keep my angles and it all flowing together. That kind of helps me a little bit. It's not that dramatic of a curve. We have one that lives behind these guys. It's purple. We got a yellow back here that only is in one little square. Little guy with a little doof on it. And when I get through, like I know I won't be using this tick anymore, I'll just erase it as I go. Something else I recommend is getting a little like, I used old tracing paper, but some like tissue paper. You can use another sheet of paper, but just something to block your hand if you don't choose to draw from left to right, which would obviously, if you're right-handed, that would help you avoid getting any pencil like marks on your hand or smudging it out. But since I just kind of choose to draw where my heart leads me, I need this. And I think now I'll just time lapse. If you're into that, I'm gonna time lapse. So you can see, I'm just pausing the time lapse for a second. This is hard. This is definitely a lot of like little lines that I don't know where they're going. It's a big mess of just leaves and stuff. So I'm trying to block in like the shapes that I can see the easiest. So there's like this curved stalk right here that I'm trying to like get down accurately, because I think that will help me. I think that will help me to be able to add in the other like stems and stalks and things if I'm focusing on the ones that are really like obvious. So we have that curved one, then you'll see underneath the curved one is another slightly curved where it crosses over, has a little gap. And curves up. Okay, so that goes down here like so. And we're just building this up slowly. It can be a fast process if you want it to, depending on your art style. Unfortunately for me, my art style is tedious, to say the least. But so we're just gonna keep going on the ones on the shapes that we can see that are the most obvious, and then build out from there as to not overwhelm ourselves. Like this middle piece is interesting because it's a snapped stem. Is it a stem? Yeah. The snapped stem is here and like its counterpart is living like beside it. So I definitely wanted to include that because I like the odd shapes. Like over down here, I need to finish up. I might erase that, but it is like, it looks like it's pieces of stems that have like snapped off and the carrot has broken off with it, which is kind of cool. Does it keep it interesting? It does keep it interesting. So we'll leave that in. And we just keep going. Okay, now after painstakingly drawing out your stems and leaves and things that you hope turned out fine, you take an eraser and you just go through and erase all the little tick marks. For the ones that are closer to my drawing, I'll go in with my pencil eraser after. And then I'll take my big paintbrush and I'll actually bring this outside and brush it off into my dirt. So I'll go do that. Okay, so it's all erased, it's drawn out, and now I can kind of go in and make sure I can actually see what I'm going to paint. But that is how I do my initial drawings. The grid is honestly the most helpful thing that I have used, I guess, in my practice. Some people don't like to draw that way. They really like to just go by their own scale and like figuring it out. Or there's a lot of different techniques that you can learn to be able to not have to use a grid. For me, it kind of takes the guesswork out and I enjoy it. So I'm gonna keep doing it. Thank you guys so much for watching. I am gonna go take a break because my eyes hurt. Bye.